Welcome to AEHelp.com's IELTS test preparation videos. You will now see Karan from the state of Kerala in India score again a Band 8 for his IELTS speaking interview in this second attempt. After the interview, I will explain why he hasn't improved his score and what he needs to do to get at least half a band or one band more for that perfect Band 9. To see over 50 mock IELTS speaking interviews with students from around the world scoring different band scores, visit and join our premium package at aehelp.com. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We help thousands of students daily succeed on their IELTS test. Now watch and learn. Welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. It has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each. I'm recording this for marking purposes. This is candidate number 9371 and the time is 14 o'clock. We're doing the exam in Karan. And before we continue, can you please just show me your identification?
Here is my passport, which I used to register the exam, and you can take a look.
Great. And what is your full name?
My name is Karan, and my family name is Nair. You can call me Karan.
Okay, Karan. For part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study?
I actually do both now. I work for a financial firm as a financial strategist. I also study my IELTS and also GRE for my higher studies in States.
What do you do to relax?
In order to unwind, I like to go out for a walk or watch some movies. Yesterday I watched a comedy flick and it really helped me to burn out some stress.
Let's talk about outside and inside activities. What do you like to do in your home?
In my home, when I'm alone, I like to study in my room or learn something new. Yesterday I learned about the new touchscreens technology that's being developed, and it's really interesting.
What do you like to do outside?
When I'm alone and when I'm outside, I like to go around for a walk. I think it really helps me both mentally and physically, and it gives a happy vibe in me.
How often do you go outdoors for fresh air?
I go outdoors twice a day, one in the morning to get the morning fresh air and to be relaxed, and also after the work when I walk back home. It's really a good stress relief for me.
Where do you prefer relaxing, in your house or out somewhere, and why?
When I'm in a mood to be social, I like to spend it outside along with my friends, talking with them, discussing the future and everything. And when I'm alone, I like to be inside my room reading a book or watching a movie, as I said before.
Have you ever had to stay at home for a long time without going out?
Yes, especially during this pandemic, I have stayed at my home for weeks. Actually, I haven't stepped out of my home until I appear for this exam.
If you had to stay outside for a whole week, where would you go?
I haven't really thought about it, but it's an interesting question. If I have to go outside for a week, I would choose Goa because I love the seafood and I can also get the food from the forest as well.
That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For part 2, I will show you a card with some questions on it. You will have 1 minute to look at the questions on the card, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. There's some note paper there in front of you and you have a pencil. You can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Talk about a time you did volunteer work. Please do not touch the card. Yeah, just the note paper. Your 1 minute preparation time starts now. Go ahead. Karan, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
2 years ago, I volunteered at an orphanage as a part of my undergraduate studies, and I worked there from September to November at the time of 5 to 6 after my classes. And it was really important for me to do this volunteer work for my business community course, and they have a 50 credits for it. So I started working there as an administrative assistant. I have also done their financing and budgeting as well. During my tenure there, I've prepared some Excel sheets for them so that they can track their expenses and they can plan their budgeting according to that. While I'm there, I've seen many unprivileged people there, and it was a good feeling for me to help them, and to see their smile is so gratifying for me. And I have also prepared some tax documents and everything for them so they could get some grants and funding from the government as well. Yeah. It was a really good experience for me because by doing this, I will be able to implement what I've studied in my classes into the real world. And it's not about just working for some wealthy corporate company, but rather than it's a wonderful feeling of helping people. And in the future, I would like to continue doing this because the sense of gratification I'm getting from by doing this volunteer work is really high. And it also builds a sense of responsibility and social commitment in me. I'm sure by doing this, it will help me to become a better person and also a better social being.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Please turn over the note paper and put it to the side. And can you please turn it over?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. I'm going to take back the card.
Sure.
And now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you a question in regards to your part 2 response and some questions related to this topic. Why did you choose to volunteer at an orphanage and not somewhere else?
People volunteer at different places. Like some people work for orphanages and old age homes. Some work for like environmental purposes by cleaning the beaches and working to save the environment and reducing the pollution. For me, coming from an Indian background, I've seen children at the slums and how underprivileged were there. That have a strong impact on me, and that's why I choose the orphanage, because by doing this I will be able to bring a ray of hope in these children.
What are the most common ways that people volunteer?
As I said in the previous question, that people volunteer in many ways. There are people like me volunteering for orphanages. There are also people who work for the elderly homes. And there are also people who are committed to environment. They try to spend their time freely on cleaning the environment and mitigating the pollution.
Which of these is the most rewarding and why?
All volunteer works are actually rewarding in their own ways. From my personal example, I would say working for an orphanage is a really gratifying thing to do because you can see a lot of underprivileged kids there, and working for them, making them happy is really satisfying.
How does volunteering benefit society?
Volunteering benefits society in many ways. It helps to mold a better generation for tomorrow. And it also helps to build a strong community.
How about the individuals who do the volunteer work?
From a personal perspective, I would say by doing the volunteer work, it builds a self-worth in me, because doing something to bring a change to the world and helping people is something that I'm proud of myself, and which I would like to continue doing it in the future as well.
What are day-to-day actions that people need to pay attention to for society to function well?
In order for a society to function well, people should be mindful of their surroundings and their society. For an example, if a person who is driving a car and if he is not mindful about his surroundings and not aware about what's happening around, he might hit a pedestrian, which can end up the pedestrian being injured and himself being in the jail.
Which are difficult actions for people to do on a regular basis for social responsibility?
in case of social responsibility, for an example, like throwing out a garbage or a rubbish into the bins itself, people don't usually do that. It's a easy thing to do and a simple thing to do, and it hardly takes any time. And still people are hesitant to do it. And these small little things can go a long way.
If people do not act with responsibility towards other members in their community, what may be the consequences?
If people doesn't act with any social responsibility, it can create many social tensions and confusions in the society, because every person should be respectful about the others who are living in the society and should care for them.
Can you give an example of that?
If a person who is working for an orphanage, and if he is not doing his job properly, it can create a bad influence within that organization, and it can lead to a downfall of the organization as well.
Okay, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking part of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark in about 3 days online. You can see them, and you will have your official marks in about 2 weeks with your other sections. You will have the certificate in the mail. Have a great rest of your day, and remember to take your passport with you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So why does Karan get the same Band 8 this time as he did previously? Now, Band 8 is a very good user of the English language, and Karan should be proud of that. That score is enough for him to go to just about any university program, as well as to get a fast visa for immigration. Now, a Band 8 is a person who has complex natural language, understands all the questions, and is able to give original, detailed answers using a broad range of vocabulary and grammar. And Karan has done that. The reason he's losing marks, that one band, is because he's making the same kinds of mistakes as during his first interview. What were those mistakes, and how can he improve? The first mistake that Karan makes, and this is not a language mistake, ironically, is that he's just as nervous as during his first interview. He is under the exam pressure and he feels very anxious, and because of his anxiety, he's having difficulties with fluency and finding the right words quickly enough and expressing himself smoothly enough to be considered an expert user of the English language. So firstly, Karan simply has to train himself to be more relaxed and confident from the very start of his interview. There are a few different tricks to do this. I've heard from many people that chewing on some gum or eating a candy or a little bit of chocolate can be helpful. Hey, if that works for you, great. Some other strategies for letting go of anxiety are visualization. One way to be a little bit more the feeling of being at home is to imagine that you're actually just speaking to yourself. See the examiner as if you're looking in a mirror. You're looking at yourself, talking to yourself. That should make you more relaxed. Again, you have to practice this. Or visualize that the examiner is someone close to you, like your grandma or your grandpa, as I've mentioned in previous videos. Control the breath and move the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and give nice full sentence answers while releasing that deep breath. One particular time when I volunteered to help people was about 3 years ago at a children's hospital. Nice big breath in, calm, confident sentence out. When students are nervous, they forget to move their mouth. So it's a good idea to articulate using your lips and your jaw. This will actually help you to be more confident. Project your voice. It's almost like you're a little bit angry. All right, so now let's talk about another point. where Quran could make some improvement. Another reason why Quran is not considered a truly expert user of the English language is because there are awkward incongruencies or inconsistencies in the context of his responses, meaning that he himself seems to lose a little bit of the information that he's trying to say. How can a person overcome this? How can we come up with good ideas quickly? Well, think about this. In the IELTS, the questions are designed for the general public. They are created in such a way that just about any person should be able to talk about them. So think about what 9 from 10 people would say. For instance, when the examiner introduces the topic of indoor and outdoor activities for part 1, immediately you should visualize what most people like to do outdoors, such as sports, picnic, camping, going for walks, going for runs, swimming at the beach, as well as indoor activities, watching movies, making some food, doing some cleaning, doing homework, studying, reading a book. If you were to ask 100 people this question about indoor-outdoor activities, I bet you my list would be in the top most popular responses. Practice this at home. And then to build fluency, always think about why and example. So people like to go outdoors for hiking. Why? Well, because they get exercise. Go beyond that. They also get fresh air. Well, go beyond that. Visualize it. They can take pictures of nature, go with their friends, and have a good discussion. And then think of an example. A couple of weeks ago, I went for a nature hike at Stanley Park and had a great discussion with my best friend about flowers. There you go. That's how you put it together. And Quran needs to practice this a bit more to build this expert level of communication. Nevertheless, a Band-Aid is great, and I'm sure that with a bit more practice, Quran will improve and become an even higher band score. Keep up the good studies, and you'll get there too. To see more video lessons like this one, as well as original practice exams and a fully interactive course for your computer and your mobile, get our app or sign up for our premium package online at aehelp.com. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Begin learning for success today. Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video. Click right up here. And click our IELTS Hero to join our premium package and get access to all of our videos, practice exams, and a fully interactive course.